Today we're checking out this digital HDTV antenna that was sent to me free of charge. So we're going to take it out, see what's in the box, and go over some of its basic features. Now you're supposed to be able to have all the channels that are free around your local area. Now this is not going to give you cable channels, so to speak, so only free channels that are broadcasted near your zone. And this is rated to 100 miles or so of range, which is very realistic because of the curvature of the Earth. Anything above 100 miles is basically bogus. So if you see antennas that claim more than 100 miles in range, then you can pretty much discard that information as being bogus. Anyway, I digress. This antenna is going to let you capture free channels that are near your zone, again at a range of 100 miles, and you can have the broadcast received in 4K as long as they transmit in 4K, of course. But the point being that your smart TV or your regular TV, if it supports 4K, then you should be able to have pretty good signal. Of course, it also supports Full HD or 1080p, and it is waterproof, so in case you want to place it outside of your home, which is basically the ideal positioning of this antenna. Let me get that out of the way. The ideal positioning of this antenna, or any one like it, is as high as possible, as unobstructed as possible, so it would be pretty much on top of the roof if possible, so that it has an unobstructed view of 360 degrees all around your house. So as little trees as possible, as little buildings as possible, as if you cannot put it on top of the roof, maybe close to the window. But do keep in mind that visibility in terms of buildings, trees, and any other obstructions will deter the signal that is being received. So just keep that in mind. This is not a miracle device. Some people put it next to their TVs, and let me just tell you that it's not an ideal position. Anyway, I don't want to digress on that much. Just know that you should be placing this as high as possible, outside if possible, and with the least obstruction all around as possible. Now this is supposed to be used, of course, in TVs that do have a TV tuner, so not HDMI input. This is a coaxial input, and it does have the adapter. We're going to check that out in just a second. But your TV does need to have a TV tuner, and it should be compatible with ATSC or QAM for you to be able to scan the available TV channels that are near your area. Now some of the specs that we can go over here, and like I mentioned, it is an outdoor TV antenna. It says indoor, but like I mentioned, the best positioning would be outdoors. And you get VHF and UHF signals, and they are 172 to 240 megahertz and 470 to 862 megahertz respectively. The gain is 30 dB, and we got some other specs in here: impedance 75 ohms and whatnot. It does require a 5-volt and 500 milliamp power supply. I'm not sure if it's included, so we're going to check that out. I don't think it is included. So some of the tips before use is to make sure your TV has an HDTV tuner, like I mentioned just a little while ago. And you can also connect this to a converter box that does have a coaxial input. Okay, so the channel reception will vary depending on what's being broadcast in your area. I did mention that just a second ago. And it also depends on your surroundings, so obstructions between you and the towers will make a difference. So the least, the better, of course. So yeah, it also says to keep the antenna away from high power devices such as an elevator. Who has an elevator at home? I don't know, but if you live in an apartment building, maybe. So keep it away from hair dryers, microwave ovens, and such and such. I do have noticed that my microwave does tend to block out the internet Wi-Fi, so there's that. Anyways, there are two ways that you can connect this to your TV. One is directly to your HDTV. Again, it does need to support a TV tuner or HDTV tuner, and you can connect it directly to it. You do have to power it via USB. And if your TV does not support an HDTV tuner, then you do need to have a digital setup box that does have the capability of receiving a coaxial HDTV signal and processing the signal so that it can be transmitted to your TV, usually via HDMI. So yeah, Now it does have other features. It is a IPX7 waterproof, so again the best position for this is outside, and you get your preview channels, and it's got a high performance coaxial cable and a built-in smart chip, so this is supposed to help in case of lightning strike. It should be able to protect your TV, or at least that's what it claims. Right, so without any further ado, let's just take it out of the box, see what's inside. I do not expect a power supply, but we'll see that in just a second. Now it does come in this little plastic bag, and you got your manual. So pretty basic. I don't think there's nothing in here that I have not mentioned. And again, there's the ways that you can connect it, either to an HDTV, if it does have an HDTV tuner, or via a setup box. And it suggests that you can use the USB power that some TVs have. So many TVs have a USB port in the back that you can probably use it to power the antenna or the signal booster that is included. Now, in my experience, at least with the TV that I have noticed that the power output of the USB port is not very good, so you might want to use your own power supply, because I can already tell that it is not included. All right. So the antenna itself is very, very lightweight. It does have some mounting holes. And does it include screws? Yes, it does include a couple of screws, which are here inside the bag. So basically we're checking out everything that you need to set this up. Okay, so you do have a coaxial adapter, as you can see right here. Now this has the screw-on part that goes to the signal booster. That's right here. So you will screw this as such. Okay, this makes it pretty much plug and play in your TV. You don't have to screw it in your TV. Now, you do not need to use this. You can also remove this and just screw this part to your TV, to the back of your TV in the coaxial input. Most TVs, I have not seen a TV that does not have the screwable part. So if you believe this is going to be a permanent connection, then you can just use the screw into the TV, or else you can just use the adapter, and it would be a more plug and play solution. You just push it in and it will be connected. Now this is a signal booster, and starting to think that this is optional, because this one does receive the signal from the cable, from the antenna. Okay, so it goes, no, it's not optional, forget what I said. So it does come from the antenna. You screw it into the signal booster, and the signal booster is going to be right next or behind your TV or under your TV, whatever you want to place it. So the signal booster is going to go plugged into your TV and also powered either by your TV's USB port, or like I mentioned, you might want to set up your own power adapter for precisely this USB port. Okay, so again, it has to be 5 volts and at least 500 milliamps for it to work. Now the cable that comes straight from the antenna is 33 feet long, so it's decently long. Probably not longer because of interference and whatnot that could hinder the performance of it, but it is pretty long. So this should make it easier for you to set the antenna up outside of your house, or maybe out the window or something, and still have enough leeway or enough cable to route it all the way to your TV, wherever it is located. You do get some complimentary zip ties, plastic zip ties. So if you want to attach this to a pole, then you can do just that. Now let me see about the mounting options. I'm not sure if this will allow you to set up such a way. I don't see it. It is meant to be placed in here. Okay, so as you can see, you can just insert this as such, and you got some smaller screws that are the ones that go inside this adapter right here. And you also got some longer screws, which are the ones that would go into the wall, whether it's a drywall or a concrete wall. You do have your expanders right here, as you can see. So you would use those to mount this to the wall. And once it is mounted in the wall, you can either, depending on the position, you can just slide it in, but it is going to be loose. So you might instead want to, just screw this into the antenna itself, and then it does have some grooves in here, and you can pretty much set it in any direction you want. So you can set it up vertically, it would use the vertical grooves right here, or if you set it horizontally, then again you have a lot of flexibility in terms of the position that you want to put this, but definitely just not standing, which is, I don't see any way to set it up standing, unless you might want to use these adhesives that you have right here. Now, these are a couple of foam pads that have double-sided adhesive, and you can just either stick this on the sides right here and stick it on the wall, or maybe on the bottom and have it vertically set up, although I personally probably would not recommend this. All right, so yeah, this is pretty much it. Now I wonder if this lights up, but I guess I cannot test it right now. Anyway, I digress. So yeah, this is what you get in the box, pretty much everything that you might want to get started and start watching your free TV channels. Say goodbye to your cable subscriptions. If all you need is your local TV news or something like that, then you can just get started with this. Again, it really depends on what's broadcasting near your home. So it's not a magical solution, but if you do have any broadcasting networks near your home, then you should be golden with this solution. So this is it for now. I hope that this video was helpful. Hope to see you in the next one. And until then, may God bless you all.